jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son, actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come back sports, talking way too much, world come back sports, talking way too much, world come back sports.
Yo, big shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game. A-Side official, no negotiation needed, period. You already know. WCS the first in the building. Salute to everyone who support the channel inbound. Let me give it a little bit of time to fill up the room. Yo, hopefully everyone is doing great. Let's get down to it. You already see the description. Shout out to Jay. Good morning in the building. Let's start off the week. I see you. One love to you, man. Appreciate you supporting the channel. So you see the description, boxing a flawed transmission of lies. Canelo versus Eubank next, question mark, beware of content rehearsal. This is pretty much me just providing a couple of bookmarks when it comes to certain topics that that's dancing around the YTC dance floor. You know what I'm saying? The two-stepping. What I call two-stepping is individuals that have seen this dance before, but they won't get out on the floor and give you something you ain't seen before. You know what I'm saying? They will listen and listen and listen and listen. They'll be two-stepping on the sideline, but they really don't know how to flow to the music. You know what I'm saying? They really not even tuned with the artist. They really don't go to the club like that, really, if you know what I'm saying. Content creators, fights, them going to the club to understand how the whole process works. So what they do is called rehearsals, producers' notes, you know what I'm saying? Remediation. Some of these cats, when it comes to performance enhancing drugs, they'll just go off situations of them being able to access material here online and read it over and over again and talk to other people that are unqualified, never cut weight, never went through a drastic weight cut, never transferred body fat to muscle, never had a personal trainer to even learn the science of living a healthy lifestyle, never measured their food for months upon months, never competed on any stage, whether it was athletics or just fitness competition. They never did it. But they want to get on here and tell you that they understand the process on how the Hanny Garcia situation makes sense in the world. What I mean by making sense, they would get up here and yell Ostarine. And look, we're talking about boxing has been in existence forever, right? It's been in existence forever. But you got the new age to saying, oh, I know all about this. You can't find one video that they put up, one picture of them doing anything athletic back then when they was in their 20s, teenagers. Anything that deals with nutrition, anything deals with building muscle, anything gym related, right? But they'll tell you that boxing has been the sport for all these decades. Fight pertainable to a current ongoing situation of PEDs, when we've had fighters that test positive for many different stronger, more potent PEDs. But yet, through it all, they try to prove a point just because of the name of the fighter, and they try to prove it with justification as to why shit happened. Like they're all about boxing being a soap opera. They're all about saying, oh man, so-and-so's have every right. We're not talking about what rights a person don't have. We're talking about, does it make sense right now? When you're talking about the business, when you're talking about building up a backstory, when you building up a history, when you all are building up, contentiousness, controversy sells. You know what I'm saying? Type of energy that is needed in boxing to kind of sell the rivalry. They want to sit up here and take it to court. And then look, I'm not sitting up here like beating a horse that's already on his side, taking his last breath. I'm not beating it. I'm just trying to kick it and see if it's dead yet. Because the topics that I hear over here containing to, Ostarine, if you reference one freaking fight, that should tell you that Ostarine is not a common occurrence. This is not an omnipresence, and this is not a leitmotif. This is not something that goes on in boxing all the time. So you all is co-signing, going to court for the situation. It has nothing to do with the fight itself. Well, I can understand it's okay to attempt to educate yourself and speak as if you're educated on the subject. Well, a lot of you cats don't go to fights like that, wasn't going to fights, and and you wasn't a participant at an above average level any time in your life in sports. You never had to just go through an extreme rigorous of weight cutting. You never went through a basically transformation anatomy. So you don't know how just basic supplements like amino acids, what it does. They don't have a catalog, a go-to catalog, or over-the-counter subs and what they need to do. They never came up with a workout plan. Some of these cats will go to the gym and work out and then leave and go straight to Wendy's, Five Guys, Popeyes, Kentucky, Starbucks. They can't tell you except what they heard on here. I want you to listen to something right quick, and then I'm going to reference. I'm going to share screen with you and reference an article which I've always referenced, but these other individuals won't reference. I'm going to split it in half for you to understand my take on why I feel this is kind of pointless. It's foolish for this to be, talked about the way it should with this Osterring shit. Because at the end of the day, it's not providing you that type of power, that type of enhancement to say that Ryan Garcia, the way he performed in there, should just be wiped clean. Listen to this right here, y'all.
Thing else other than that, I think, you.
And this was on the Boxing Voice. I'm just doing a reaction to Boxing Voice. This is the audio. Bill Haney, who was on the panel with freaking Blair the Flair Cobb and Ness, but he was talking to Blair the Flair, obviously, because he just called the Haneys out and was calling them the B word and all that other shit, because he felt some type of way. He's trying to get a fight. But I want you to listen to this a bit, and you tell me what you think in my response. I'm all about doing reactions. So it's boxing at the, above it all. It's boxing, nothing more.
You have a persona that fits you, that fits selling the fight, and if the shit happens, then you know what I mean. If the shit can happen, then the shit can happen. But you know the real with us.
Yeah. How about February 14th? Let's make it happen. How about yeah? What better way for a day for love than Blair the Flair? Blair the Flair and Devin Haney.
Absolutely. You're calling.
This is my issue. Bill, don't say absolutely in concurrence. And you're not going to accept this with Blair the Flair. You're going to always put him on the back burner as if he's a non-topic, because he's in a higher division. And even though Blair has a name, he does have a name, man. He has a big enough name, just like those fighters to be stepping in the ring with Canelo Alvarez and nobody wants to see fight. Blair has a bigger name than that. Come on, he had his adversities with Alexis Rocha, but also he just had his fight off Adrian Broner. We can't knock that down because it was AB. But when you say absolutely, you're concurring. He's asking you for a fight next year, and you say absolutely. Being that, no, that's not the case.
Calling for the right guy to come up and give it to you the way we do it. You did. So if we do it, then if it's a chance that it's gonna happen, then we'll do it. But I mean, what do you have next? If it's not Devin, what do you have next?
Well, we got a couple offers right now. I'm just on this. Like, why not make this happen before I have to end up fighting?
Oh,
you know what I mean? We already talked about the Ryan fight, so the Ryan fight's definitely. There's a few things happening. Like if it don't happen quick, I'm gonna
come up with
and Ben.
Huh?
You said if it doesn't happen quick, you're gonna end up fighting Conor Ben?
Yeah, I gotta fight somebody. I gotta fight one of those guys. Eddie Hearns is having conversations, so things might happen. We got Ennis, we got John Ennis, we got Conor Ben. We got a lot of good fighters and good names on the resume. But this fight, since there's already smoke here, let's make it happen. You know, why not just make it happen? Let's make it happen. Yeah, I know you guys are always in shape.
You know we are.
I just can't. I'm in top shape. Let's make it happen.
But is it that Devin, you know that Devin, and you know that Devin is the biggest name? Is it? And he's probably the only one that can come up and to do it. Blair, is that safe to say? Without ruining what might be your image. Woo! That Devin Haney is the biggest name.
The only reason,
right?
The only reason
and a guy and a guy that will fight.
The only reason why I said let's fight is because you guys clapped back at me when I was just being honest, just being truthful on how I felt about the situation with the Ryan Garcia fight. And I always tried to stay real with it. You know how I am, man.
Try
to stay real with it, even if it hurts.
So let me see this, Blair. So Blair, were you 100% truthful about what happened the last time that we were at Wild Card?
See, this is what I can't understand and don't try to understand. Shout out to the OG, Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and More, Cannabis Education and Entertainment TV on deck. I mean, we're talking about building up a fight, man. People talking about sparring. I mean, this is the same old song and dance all the time, man. It's just the old song and dance. For real. All we need is some ham bone. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's talking about sparring, man? Who cares about what happened in sparring? Who cares? We're talking about professional records, resume, body of work, portfolios, boxing ledgers, FICOs, appraising values. We're talking about criteria that matters. If you are a fighter like Haney, who's definitely certified with undisputed and 140, why is Pops is talking about what happened in sparring with Blair? What's the statute of limitations on that, Bill? That's all I'm saying. What's the statute of limitations? I'm tired of hearing it, man. I'm tired of hearing the same shit. Sparring. Who cares, man? We're talking about making a freaking fight.
The last time we were at Wild Card. Oh, so you want to talk about what happened at Wild Card? So what happened?
No, I'm just saying this. Hold on, King.
Video, right? But there ain't no video.
No, but okay, listen. Because what I'm saying to you is, ain't nothing about us, bitch, my nigga. This particular thing that we're doing that you have to be open and honest with, that with you and your dad, you would want to be business. You would want to have your business done in a way that you're the fighter and the business gets done. So when you came out and said that, it was kind of unfair because, behind the scenes we talk, and you would probably want the same kind of representation yourself from a business standpoint.
So, Bill, what you saying? That the fight with Canelo is bigger than the fight with Blair?
What I'm saying is that me and Blair, we got to get our people rallied around the fact that we have.
Hey, listen to what he's about to say. And I'm going to try to guide you dead center, right? Just like we know when I used to be in there shooting those high-end weapons, those high-powered weapons, those we call it artillery in the military. And we have to adjust windage. You know what I'm saying? To get closer and closer to the center mass. Now, listen very, very thoroughly, please, to what Bill Haney says next.
Bad blood, right? We have bad blood, and that's the fight. That is bad blood. That he's saying that it's bad blood. Now, I'm saying that he's gonna get all the smoke, but it's bad blood because he sees a bad motherfucking Devin, and he knows that Devin will step up and we will answer to any of the bitch complaints, any of the bullshit, right? And that the Devin is the biggest name. That's truthfully the way that it is to the Cobbs family. And will we provide an opportunity if we can? Of course. But I don't think all the other shit is a big name like yourself should just tell the truth. It's easier just to tell the truth of the way that it is. That's the easy.
Yeah, I mean, did that make any sense to you all? Anybody like providing a big name to who, what, and when? Like I mean, talking in circles, man. Like if you're gonna make the fight, make the fight. Ness asked, "Did you think that Haney Catterall was a bigger fight than Haney Blair Flair Cobbs?" And what he just responded to me made absolutely no sense. It was gibberish at the end of the day. But continue listening.
Wait, who got cooked and spawned? What are y'all saying? There's a deeper, darker criminal link?
Let's see, this is what I'm talking about. Like when it comes down to it, people want to hear about sparring. Listen, man, sparring is sparring. It's not fight camp. It's just sparring. Do you know how many names that come up that people say, okay, they got the best of sparring? You have people out here lying and saying Crawford got knocked out down here in Atlanta when he faced when he was down here sparring, which was untrue. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these cats really haven't watched sparring. I know a couple of fighters that I've seen in sparring, they got dropped. I never mentioned their name, never will in sparring. Because I had the opportunity to be there and there wasn't that many people in the sparring session. You know what I'm saying? But they know who they are. You know what I'm saying? Being that I was media, you know what I'm saying? One of the cats said, "Hey man, I appreciate you never mentioning what you seen in there. Maybe somewhere up the road, I'll mention what that particular fighter or fighters. But it's just one of them confidential. These guys just say, hey, something happened in sparring, something happened. Man, bro, it's so many goddamn stories about cats and sparring. Who cares? We want to talk about if the fight being made. We already done been through the back and forth, online, verbal sparring. What I did at you back then, this, that, and the other. But what can you do on a professional level that counts, that deals with the registration of the results? That's all I want to hear in this day and time. 2025. This media shit, that shit don't get me up. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit don't motivate me. Hearing about sparring between two top names in boxing. I care about the official announcement.
Hey, Tone, now here Tone comes with the distractions. Blair, I'm waiting for Blair's response from what I'm saying to him.
Okay.
I have no clue what you're saying.
He's asking how that last session go, Blair. How'd the last session go?
See? And you got people that's somewhat instigating the situation. How'd the last session go? People way off topic. No, we shouldn't be talking about no sparring, man.
How'd the last session go? The last session went in a stalemate. His son did really good, but basically it was on par with average, how he should be coming in when he's in top shape. And I'm literally coming off the streets off a 1.5 year layoff.
Now that was a portion that went down today of them talking about sparring. One part on there is where Bill said to Blair that we have to build up, you know what I'm saying, the energy with the people. The same thing I say that him and Ryan Garcia already has. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to play too much of the audio because the live still, and I'm multitasking. But what I wanted to get what I wanted to get across is that I've been telling my listeners and others that Ryan Garcia and Haney has all the pieces. There's no other puzzle pieces needed. They have all the puzzle. They have all the pieces. The picture is painted for everyone to see based off their first fight. They have everything they need. Bill had told Blair they need to, somehow get the crowd involved as if it's a rivalry of some sort. You know what I'm saying? They got to build heat between one another. And I felt that's what Blair was doing. He called them a bitch and all that. I felt that's what he was doing. But then you take that energy away, that negative energy away. If you know the person, don't get on here and it's controversy swirling and don't build up what you requested Blair. You pretty much said to Blair, we need to get the crowd involved. We need everybody to be tuned in. We need this negative energy to kind of get everybody talking about the fight. But yeah, you go on the boxing voice and then you start trying to be a mediator. You're trying to go back, Blair, we known each other. When went on this part. So you ain't trying to build a fight. Blair's doing what he's supposed to do. He's trying to put his name back out there, right? He's not doing anything wrong. He's trying to get his name back out there, and he won a big fight at 147. But if you're saying that y'all need that vortex of negative energy, and he gives it to you, and then you come in here and you try to basically nip it in the bud and dissolve it. You try to become a counselor. You try to wipe it away. No, you want the windows fogged. You want people trying to wipe down and see what's going on, wipe away the fog and say, oh shit, what's going on with this conversation? Isn't boxing built off controversy? Yes, it is. So why go over here and talk about sparring? Don't nobody want to hear that bullshit. We want to hear if the fight can be made. If you don't have anybody lined up, no time soon. I know you're not trying to sell Haney versus Catterall. That's not a bigger fight than Blair because Blair does have a name, in my opinion. I would want to see Blair fight Haney when you're talking about size to size and him moving up to a higher division, of course. I don't want anybody talking about, Haney balloons up in weight and he's a big fighter and now he's just fighting another small fighter in Catterall at a catchweight. If this fight is going to be at 147, then so be it. I'm not even going to argue the point, with him and Catterall. But people don't know Catterall like that. Even with his win over Regis, people ain't looking for Catterall like that. But they do know who Blair is. You feel me? So I'm going to do another part 2 reaction to this live stream because they do get into Ostarine. And this is what I want people to understand about these pairs. It's a lot of people out here that goes through rehearsals. What I mean by that, if you read the same thing over and over again, it becomes producer's notes. It becomes a common theme for you off recall memory. The mid part of your brain is where you archive, routing, mapping, all that shit, right? So you have recall, you have your go-to, but none of them have actually lived to a point where you can do things in moderate sessions to keep yourself at a certain weight, to if you have goals to try to get this type of muscularity or definition and so forth, and then include that with a workout regime, a regimen, and then you continue and you can produce results based off your own common knowledge. I'm gonna wipe this Ostarine shit away for good. I did a live on Ostarine already. I'm going to tell you that Ostarine is certain language it did not have in there comparable to the reference that I'm about to use on a fight that made headlines. All right. So let's go over there to this fight right here. Shout out to Haynes Legacy in the building. Shout out to TGB Tough Glove Boxing in the building. Salute to you. So I'm going to bring this up. This is ESPN article, okay? Please lock in. Because those of you that's been around long enough know I rock with MMA just as heavy as I rock with boxing. Okay, just because I don't do live zone doesn't mean I neglect it. So those of you that heard me speak on this, you would not look at Ostarine the way these guys are trying to make it seem. A lot of these guys, just because they can talk about boxing on a level, they're very much casuals when it comes to supplements, supplemental enhancements. Okay, supplemental enhancements. They will speak about Ostarine as if it's this ginormous, breathtaking, unbelievable transformation type drug that's been around the game for a long time, and countless amount of fighters have been on this shit to improve their performance value. That's not it with Ostarine. You can't say 17 divisions, you can't say decades in the game, and you only referencing Alexander Povetkin and Lucian Boutte as freaking a couple other fights that Ostarine has appeared. All right, this is gonna nip all that in the bud. This is TJ Dillashaw's article. What TJ Dillashaw's 2-year PED suspension means for the UFC. Look at the date on here. This was March 2019. Okay. Former UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw was suspended for 2 years by the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency on Tuesday for testing positive for recombinant human EPO before a flyweight title fight against Henry Cejudo. Just a little specifics. DJ Dillashaw was a champion in 135, and Henry Cejudo, who beat Demetrius Johnson, was the reigning flyweight 125-pound champion at the time. Henry Cejudo kind of talked his way out of challenging TJ Dillashaw 135 when it came to money. He wanted to get paid. And his manager was protesting. So what did they do over there at the UFC? They put the leverage over on TJ Dillashaw's side. Say, hey, we're going to pay you this amount of money if you go down there and beat Henry Cejudo at 125. Because at the time, they was trying to do away with 125 because Demetrius Johnson pretty much ruled that division, dominated, defended his title 11 times, considered one of the GOATs in mixed martial arts when it comes to the males. Henry Cejudo already lost to Demetrius Johnson and came back around the second time and beat him. And that's when the trade happened with Ben Askren and Demetrius Johnson. Ben Askren came into the UFC. Demetrius Johnson went over the one championship. Let me carry forward. The 2-year suspension is the maximum sanction for non-specific specified substance under the UFC anti-doping program. It is dated retroactive to January 18, 2019, the day test for was submitted. The reason why I'm providing you this because this supersedes and drowned out this bullshit ass Austrian play that people keep on singing the same boring ass anthem about when it comes to boxing. I tell these dudes, you should pay attention to mixed martial arts because they had some of the biggest drug scandals in combat sports, yo. And you can learn from that shit. But we over here playing with motherfucking Tonka blocks in boxing when they have real motherfucking stones, boulders being dropped when it come to peds. John Jones, multi-time offender, had to go before the commission, pay a $250,000 fine, request permission to get his license back. They have huge scandals over in mixed martial arts that people can learn from. Moving forward, Dillashaw will be almost 35 when the suspension is completed. We all know the pressures to win at all levels of all sports are real intense. USADA. Okay, USADA was the anti-doping agency that the UFC used to use, okay? USADA CEO Travis T. Tigert said in a release statement, it is exactly why strong anti-doping efforts are necessary to protect clean athletes' rights, health, and safety, and to ensure that those who do succumb to these pressures and decide to break the rules will be accountable in a real meaningful way, as in this case. Now, listen to the language that they use, Vice, what you don't read over there about Ostarine. This guy said, it is exactly why strong anti-doping efforts are necessary to protect clean athletes' rights, health, and safety, and to ensure that those who succumb to these pressures and decide to break the rules will be held accountable. Now, when you're talking about succumb to those pressures, that means they know you're guilty. Okay. It's a lot of shit that went on with Ryan Garcia where people want to erase the fact that there's a clause in there. There's an addendum when it comes to Ostarine. Ostarine can be a part of a contaminant supplement. It's been spoken on plenty of times before that it can be a part of a contaminant supplement. People are trying to wipe away the contaminant supplement by saying, hey, when Bio, Nero, and all these other companies, they said they didn't have no contaminated supplements. I'm like, seriously? That's all it takes is for a company to clear their name publicly so they wouldn't be scrutinized in a negative light? They just get on here and say, hey, the batch number, it was clear. We had no contaminant, and then people run with it. Is it a absolute 100% benefit of the doubt, without any compunction, that Ryan Garcia willingly, knowingly took Ostarine that could be attached to a contaminant supplement which he was consuming from a person that wasn't a part of his team? Is there some type of window? Is there a percentage unknowingly to the fighter that he took a contaminant supplement without his prior knowledge, without intent? Yes, it is. Pay attention, please, to this next one, because this is going to wipe away the language that people are running with. They're double timing with this shit over here in boxing. They're trying to blow it up. It don't compare to what goes on in this article. It said, what did Dillashaw test positive for? Listen to the language, y'all. Dillashaw tested positive for a human EPO, according to the World Anti-Doping Anti-Doping Agency. EPO is a peptide hormone used to stimulate red blood cell production that is typically administered via intravenous injection. Okay, let me just highlight intravenous. For those of you that's been around in life that knows outside of the Ostarine whirlwind or bullshit, intravenous is not something that you can take orally. Intravenous is an injection, most of the time in your gluteus maximus, right? This is something that you will not ingest. This is intravenous. The language is different. Over here in these boxing conversations, they're trying their damnness to make you believe that Ostarine is on the level of EPO. Ostarine has an attachment to it. It can be a part of a contaminant supplement, as an EPO is an intravenous injection. It's point blank, cut and dry, that the reason why TJ Dillashaw tested positive for EPO is because he was taking it willingly. Why? Because that particular supplement, that performance enhancing drugs, been banned since the 1990s, was intravenously injected. It goes on to say, language, y'all, an increase in red blood cells improve the amount of oxygen. Oh man, isn't oxygen freaking very, very important when you're talking about working out, strength, everything? No, that don't have shit to do with Ostarine. An increase in red blood cells improve the amount of oxygen that blood can carry to the body's muscles, improving, pay attention, stamina and performance. It has been banned by WADA since the early 1990s. Stamina and performance. Did Ostarine, have you read that Ostarine provides stamina and performance, and is Ostarine injected? I guarantee you, any fighter that has EPO in their system, they've been normally taking it. They're not going to have such minuscule properties still being flushed out their system and registering on a test. I guarantee the results that will come from EPO is cut and dry. It's cut and dry. It's no guessing. It's no crumbs on the table. You know what I'm saying? You go to a plate and you see crumbs on the motherfucker. You try to predict what the entree was. I think that was a ham and cheese right there. I think that was a goddamn turkey and Swiss cheese on honey wheat right there. You're not guessing. That shit is gonna come back solid. EPO, a peptide hormone, and EPO itself provides you with those stamina and performance issues. They're gonna help you. They're gonna enhance. They're gonna help you perform like your own performance enhancing drug. That means they're gonna provide you advantages, especially in a combat sport like boxing, especially in a combat sport like mixed martial arts, Muay Thai. BJJ, like I told you all, it's plenty of them practitioners on performance enhancing drugs. They don't test. Man, you want to talk about a sport, a combat sport that don't test, and they still have championships, knowing that they don't test for performance enhancing drugs. And WCS try to put this out there all the time. If they don't test for performance enhancing drugs, why don't everybody that's on this shit win? Why don't we see freaking 15-time BJJ world champions? Since everybody's on it, they don't test for freaking pads. But getting back to the point of TJ Dillashaw, he tested positive for EPO, which improves stamina and performance. Quite different from Ostarine. Am I right or wrong? This is quite different. This is a cut and dry, two-sided blade, right? A serrated blade at that cuts straight to the point. EPO will give Ryan Garcia that advantage so they can have much more criteria to argue the point with evidence when they go to court in this little civil suit or whatever. Yeah, he was on EPO. Why we know how we know he took it? Because it says right here that this is typically administered via intravenous injection. That is going to go there. That is going to be their go-to when they present their opening argument. That this is usually via intravenous injection, which tells everybody that this person intentionally injected that into his body for an advantage. It says, I'm quite familiar with EPO from my days investigating professional cycling teams. UFC Vice President of Athletic Health and Performance of Jeff Nowitzki told ESPN, it's a very effective supplement. It's not a substance you find in contaminated supplements. Once again, this is an actual thing. So you voices this out there that continue to bitch and complain because you're trying to advocate for your favorite fighter. EPO is not a part, or nor can that be used in any type of argument that this happened from a contaminated supplement. But what it does say is when it comes to Ostarine does have an adoption, a stepchild enclosure, that it can be a part of contaminant supplements. And also another part I wanted to use about when the companies say that their batch they didn't have no Ostarine, they don't want to face any liability. Of course they're going to shut it down and say, oh, we tested it and our batch number was clear. We don't do any of that. But then you will read other articles that's saying that Ostarine is in a lot of supplements to provide that extra. If you're putting Ostarine in over-the-counter subs and the buyer, the consumer, is taking it and they're getting their fulfillment when they're going to the gym and working out, the makers understand that. They understand. They know for a fact. Ostarine has that espouse. of contaminated supplements. So why are we out here trying to act like the numbers of what Ryan Garcia tested for, the ped that he actually used? People want to reference 1 or 2 fights in the history of the sport that deals with ostarine, and they want to bloviate it up to a mountain as if you're climbing Everest barefooted in the motherfucking winter. Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to say this is the supplement of all. Man, ostarine can't fuck with EPO. You can just read it right here. EPO is separated from any attachment of contaminated supplements. But yet ostarine it does have that link to contaminated supplements. Just because you have people out here that's trying to clear the air, trying to act like they passed the bar exam off a box of Captain Crunch, you have to accept the fact that ostarine is attached to contaminated supplements. And just because Ryan Garcia failed to submit the supplement he was on, the levels that was in his system, don't act like all of a sudden numbers lying. All of a sudden numbers lying, huh? Numbers lying now. I don't know how many times that you have to tell people that everyone's physical composition and their health internally to their anatomy is different. Everybody's shit is different, even twins. Everybody's shit is different. So when you try to place this on a fighter that has been known to present, show signs of speed, show signs of power, and then you get to a point where he steps in there with the fighter, as in case, i.e., Haney Garcia, and Garcia has the type of performance. You all are selling yourselves out flat out. You selling yourselves out face first. Face first. You're selling out. You crashing, burning. If you're trying to convince the people that ostarine had everything to do with his performance, it really shakes stuff up the wrong way when it comes to boxing. It just further raises the skirt of individuals out here bitching and complaining, waving pom-poms just so they can say, oh, he shouldn't fight Ryan. We ain't talking about no racist comments. We talking about performance. EPO separates any type of intention of being contaminated. No, EPO is that shit. It goes on to say it's injectable only, y'all. Do y'all have that confirmation and certainty when it comes to ostarine? If you don't have that and you all are still up here just rambling the fuck on like this is some unbelievable, this is the bombastic of freaking supplements. It has the freaking reading criteria out there that says it's attached to contaminated. It has that liability factor of possibly being contaminated. Does EPO? No, it said injectable only. You have to know what you're doing when it enters your system. You have to know what you're doing. On a scale of seriousness in anti-doping, it's up near the top. Does ostarine says that if you can't find this right here, you need to shut the fuck up, because you're basically you're ill-advising those casual individuals and pretending that you have that qualified certification off the back of a Captain Crunch cereal box. You're trying to make it seem like the white coat you wear holds more qualification value than someone that is in the game, who's actually taken the correct route to speak on this. You're faking it. You're lying to the people like ostarine is this unbelievable, out of this world supplement that's going to transform Ryan Garcia to beat Devin Haney. But EPO, on the other hand, if Ryan would have tested positive for EPO, which narrows it down, when you're talking about injectable, now we have a whole different conversation. Now WCS is going to chill. I'm going to wait in the shadow and I'm going to see what the conversation is like, because then people are going to have much more solidified arguments to make. It's going to be much more solid. They're just not going to be shooting from the hip on the fly. They're going to have solid, concrete evidence based off the limitation of options. The limitation of option is saying this: can EPO, can it be part of a contaminated? No, it can't. Okay, we exclude that out. That's done. Push that to the side. Well, how can it get injectable? So Ryan Garcia knowingly took this, ingested. You know what I'm saying? That is how the conversation is going to go. It's not going to be no ooh, y'all need to stop trying to boost Ostarine up like it's on the level of EPO, yo. Did you hear? On the scale of seriousness in anti-doping, it's up near the top. Now, have y'all heard this? That Ryan Garcia tested positive for EPO, and you read on the scale of seriousness and anti-doping is near the top, then I would respect the argument a bit more. But it's like kiddie games, bro. It's like goddamn, your first day of grade school, man. You worrying about what you're wearing, what your shoes look like. You're a little shy. You just happy to get in there and settle in, and then y'all have y'all first break. It's snack time, and now you start to talk to one another. Now you meet strangers for the first time. That's how it feels hearing these cats talk about Ostarine. Ostarine wasn't even a topic on the conveyor belt. The only way it was rolling off for production was off your motherfucking lips. Your tongue, comparable to your knowledge, the mechanics wasn't right. You was just going off basic information. It wasn't like you had to do any thorough, in-depth research. Y'all wanted to bloviate the magnitude of Ostarine, knowing that it can be a co-op to contaminated supplements. Y'all knew that shit. But y'all still up here trying to compare it to Ryan Garcia transformation as if he went from human to Hulk. You're not getting that EPO language in Ostarine. Let me continue. It says the test Dillashaw failed occurred on January 18th, one day before his fight with flyweight champion Henry Cejudo. All right? In which he lost via first round knockout. This is why WCS said this wipes away all the bullshit, the rhetoric, the propaganda, the garbage recyclable bin narratives that is pushed out here with a square wheel barrel type of effort on the YTC, because this says the test Dillashaw failed occurred January 18th, one day before the fight. So he tested positive before the fight, which they talk about Ryan Garcia on the 19th, tested positive the day of. But look at the results. This is something that cannot be attached to a contaminant supplement. This is injectable. This is the seriousness of anti-doping. It's near the top. And what did they say right here? Look, what did they say? What did they say? Right here. Let me start right here. Before his fight with flyweight champion Henry Cejudo, in which he lost via first round TKO. Which he lost. The fighter that was on EPO lost first round knockout from a clean fighter. From a clean fighter. From a clean fighter. From a clean fighter. No, let's go back up here. On a scale of seriousness, in anti-doping, it's near the top. So you're saying that if you're wearing this suit, an EPO, it is in your body, and it deals with stamina and performance, you can still go in there against an opponent that's clean and lose via first round knockout? some ain't fucking add up to me, because I've been juggling, supporting both sides of the map in combat sports. Boxing isn't my primary. That's why I love to hear people try to say you don't know nothing about boxing. I cover multiple sports, and I can talk about mixed martial arts just as well as I talk about boxing. But see, they don't want to listen because they want to look at numbers instead of listen to what's coming out my mouth. EPO and Ostarine on two different universes. The effect that it has on the physical anatomy is quite different. If it was EPO in Ryan Garcia's situation in the system, then you would find it easier for change the tone and be more direct. You know what I'm saying? Be more vicious with your approach to somebody like me who's saying Ostarine ain't do shit for Ryan Garcia. Boxing is over here playing the harmonica and acting like it's a trombone and a trumpet. No, I just want to do my harmonica right here. I want to get my harmonica going. This is a beast. You can't sell that motherfucker. You can't sell it to me, yo. You can't sell the shit, the knowledge that that's out there for your study. Y'all need to quit trying to build up Ostarine to be this mountain of a drug when Ryan Garcia, well, he was on Pez. Look, even Blair fell into the trap. Bill is up there telling Blair that, well, they said that none of their lot numbers was contaminated. Of course they did. It's called damage control. Of course they're not going to basically admit to having any contaminant supplements. That will basically crack open the egg that they're not trying to go into legally. It brings unwanted exposure to their company, not to mention the legal ramifications that might come behind it. But when it comes to this information right here, the test Dillashaw failed occurred January 18, one day before his fight with flyweight champion Henry Cejudo, in which he lost via first round knockout. I mean, do I have to say anything more? Boxing pundits, those tongue waggers. Why are y'all up here continue to exaggerate about the effects of Ostarine in boxing? This guy was suspended for 2 years, stripped of his title. Henry Cejudo didn't go to court. Henry Cejudo was paid. He was a clean fighter, a former Olympic wrestler, gold medalist. He knocked out one of the best bantamweight fighters in mixed martial arts that was juiced up on EPO, current reigning defending champion. He knocked him out in one round. I'm not saying, but it seems like some of y'all are super uber uninformed over here in boxing when it comes to this shit. It seems like y'all just want to jump on the carousel, man, and wave your hands, eating your cotton candy and shit. Man, this carousel I like how the horses go up and down. Man, I love this ride. Even in my 40s. I love just meeting all the other content creators over here with my Slurpee. Hey, y'all. Y'all hear Ryan pop positive for Ostarine? He did. Yeah, I did, man. Thanks for that information. Hey, I'm going to hop off the carousel. Just for that information, I'm going to go buy you another roll of cotton candy. What flavor do you want? Do you want any silly string too? Do you want some pretzels? Man, you really educated me. I'm being honest. I'm telling y'all the real life. Let's go on with this article. Before Tuesday's announcement, Dillashaw was in discussion for the greatest UFC bantamweight ever. He claimed the UFC belt in May 2014 by defeating longtime champion Renan Barão via fifth round TKO. Dillashaw then successfully defended it twice before losing to Dominique Cruz, but won 4 straight afterwards and retook the title by beating Cody Garbrandt at UFC 227 last year. Listen up. But the news that he took EPO to enhance his performance in the fight will forever hurt his legacy. This is substance that cannot, once again, language, y'all. Forget about that bullshit ass toilet roll Ostarine narratives that's being swiped out here and thrown in the toilet. This is a substance that cannot enter one's system via contaminated supplement. Okay. John Jones, for instance, pleaded his innocence for that very reason. That is not the case with Dillashaw. He did not contest USADA's decision and will be remembered for cheating. Are they saying that about Ryan Garcia? Or dichotomizing the options here that it can be attached to freaking contaminations? If Ostarine can be attached to contamination, then why are you still out here rambling on as if it's in the family of EPO? Stop going out here fumbling and bumbling, trying to convince people that this shit created the Hulk. EPO dealing with red blood cells and provide more oxygen. Performance and stamina. Don't you think those two words are much more of a contribution to going in there, beating Devin up, beating any fighter up for that instance? You still got to have training. But I'm just saying, as far as physical enhancements, internal enhancements, strength, stamina, not getting tired out of 12 rounds, don't you think that may have a bit more consistency when you're up here arguing on these panels? Instead of got him juggling pink Ostarine balls. Hey, I know it sounds bad and looks bad. Man, these pink Ostarine freaking narratives, man, hey, they have a point to them now. I know he had a small amount in his system. Man, these pink narratives, man, they're strong, man. Man, he probably experienced astronomical strength that night. Man, it allowed him to throw that left hook with a whole lot more intensity. He seemed meaner. Look, he looked meaner than we ever seen him. But TJ Dillashaw was on EPO, which has no option of contaminated supplement, and he was knocked out in 1 round. He was knocked out in 1 effing round. But yet, over here in boxing conversations, we still have people up here having debates about Ryan Garcia taking Ostarine. They're trying to put it in the same weight program as EPO. There's 2 different weight classes, man. What did they say about John Jones? John Jones, for instance, right here, pleaded his innocence for that very same reason. You know what they're talking about? Because come to find out, what John Jones had took previously when he was suspended the first time, the picograms that they found that in his system that tested positive, because they was doing this ultimate breakdown and shit, you know, really making sure they scrutinized his testing. It was still filtering out his system. And when he tested positive, it caught him off guard. Like, it changed up things in the sport. It educated the sport of mixed martial arts, because even though John Jones was guilty of testing dirty, come to find out that everybody's system ain't the same, and it was taking John Jones, depending on the quantity or the collection of performance enhancing drugs he was on, was still filtering out his system, even during his suspension. So when he came back and he took this test and it tested positive for a very minute amount, that's what allowed him to get his license back. How can John Jones test for a very small amount in picograms and basically contest or challenge his innocence, being a prior offender, y'all, and he was able to get his license back? And also highlight USADA and the anti-doping to pretty much look into their method for doing testing. based off John Jones, still his physical anatomy still filtering out and flushing out that residue from his performance enhancing drugs. Now, I'm not comparing that to Ryan Garcia. I'm saying Garcia does have an argument with contamination. I'm saying if you have any type of sense, I can't say common because that shit ain't always common. If you have any type of sense intellectually, you will look at the contamination has been part of an argument as to why potentially or possibly Ryan Garcia may have tested positive for ostarine. And then people are going to say, well, he pleaded. Come on now. Now we want to act like we can't interpret. We lack the depth of interpretation. Even if he would have came back innocent, he still didn't submit the supplement on time. And also it said that the New York State Athletic Commission could have still sustained that they was going to punish him anyway. But I'm not even on that plea shit. I just wanted to give you a raw example of real life argument that happened that is cut and fucking dry for a supplement where it says the language is different than this ostarine bullshit. But the news that he took EPO to enhance his performance in the fight will forever hurt his legacy. This is a substance that cannot enter one's system via contaminated supplement. Do they say that about ostarine? So if they don't say that about ostarine, why are you still acting like it pertains to ostarine? How are you going to absolute put freaking intentional, knowingly on a supplement that can pretty much be ingested from contaminated supplement? It can be from contaminated supplements. I'm not trying to get everybody to understand or believe what I'm saying. All I'm saying is the option is there. If it wasn't no option, why is it there? Why is the language online? Multiple freaking references and sources. Why is it online though? Is it giving you concrete, solid conclusions? Like they say on here, this is a substance that cannot enter one's system via contaminated supplement. So what they're saying is contaminated supplements do exist. So stop fucking talking in circles and going out here clowning and saying, oh man, we have evidence. He said some racist shit. So therefore, you know what I'm saying? Him taking contaminated supplements, he did it purposely. I'm going off the language strictly on the supplement, y'all. A lot of cats want to play musical chairs with this shit. They want to go from channel to channel and pick up different misinformation, false narratives, propaganda, and then they want to regurgitate it based off their rehearsals. It's rehearsals, yo. Anyone can tell me this shit ain't rehearsal. I'm talking to you. This ain't rehearsal for me. But that pretty much should wipe away the bullshit when it comes to this ostarine. This is a perfect example of raw, uncut, performance-enhancing drugs. Someone holding the whole weight of culpability when it comes to being an offender. You heard me mention John Jones. I used two references, how John Jones had to come back for the commission and challenge and convince the commission, being a multi-time offender, that he did not willingly do anything different as far as continuing to be on performance-enhancing drugs. This was an ongoing process within, you know, he brought back his medical, he brought a freaking expert with him, all that, so that he can step in the cage again. He got all that. That's what he had to do. That's the method he had to take. That's the extreme that he had to take. And then with TJ Dillashaw, he was knocked out in the first round for being dirty. So y'all stop going in here talking about the reason why Devin lost off of a supplement to help you cut weight and shit like that. Man, come on, stop talking like that's the reason why Devin lost the way he did. No, bro. No, that's not it. I don't care who feels some type of way about it, bro. A lot of these cats in boxing didn't know what ostarine was before this situation came up. And it came up at the right time, you know, and it want to be talked about from a person who was in one of the biggest drug scandals in professional sports. And just because he can come up here and take jabs, y'all might have put him in a situation where he had to do the time, but y'all inserted him into the sport of boxing, the system of boxing, to have a say so publicly about fighters testing positive. And look, even he the one that pretty much had a performance enhancing drug that couldn't be detected. He knows how to put athletes out there like that. So you're trying to tell me with that abundance of knowledge, you're going to attempt to erase a supplement like ostarine from the host being contaminated? With the depth of knowledge that he has, he's going to try to go up here and say, oh, yeah, this, that. You know goddamn well that's an option that probably other track athletes and so forth have used. Oh, it was a contaminated supplement. They do the research. Oh, well, you know, ostarine can't come from contaminated. And then also you have some of these freaking companies who put ostarine in their supplements and distribute over-the-counter subs. So being that the average fitness, you know, partaker, a fitness guru, this in that type of field of fitness, they don't even know what the fuck ostarine is. They up here looking at the label, the supplement, and how it makes them feel and say, okay, I love this. I don't have to get tested. It ain't like they going to work and say, hey, every 2 weeks, we're testing you for everything. And we're going to deduct a certain percentage out of your pay for that test. That's as long as you're working with us. You'll be tested every 2 weeks. And it's going to cost you annually about $6,000. But we want a clean working environment. That means from the outside in. It's not going to happen, bro. Shout out to Mr. International Toby Bartlett. What's good with it? Shout out to It Don't Matter in the building. Let's transition over to this fight. This somewhat announcement, this somewhat presentation, okay, of a potential fight. I don't know how true it is. You know what I'm saying? But let me bring it up right quick. Boxing News 24 put out Canelo Alvarez versus Chris Eubanks in the works, possibly for 20. Right. Here you go, Boxing News 24. Canelo Alvarez versus Chris Eubanks in the works, possibly. Eubanks Jr. has revealed that his promoter has begun talks with Canelo Alvarez fight in 2025. The highly ranked middleweight contender Eubanks believe a fight between him and Mexican Super Canelo would sell out Wembley Stadium in London. Here we go again. You see, if you ever heard me talk about in talks, put too much staples into it as if it's something that is solid and finished and is no other freaking signatures needed. You know, in talks, compare it to a term sheet. Okay. Anybody can get a term sheet. It doesn't lock you in for any type of agreement. You're just in the early stages of whatever it is. It means not too much of anything. But when I hear end of talks, Chris Eubanks, Canelo Alvarez, say bullshit. It's just another moment of distraction just to keep people talking about something that really makes no sense. Does Chris Eubanks go into that fight with Canelo Alvarez with any different intention from the fight fans that he's going to go deliver another loss to Canelo Alvarez? We're talking about Chris Eubanks, who was just in the ring coming off a victory, and you had Conor Ben up there being extremely reckless, talking, and Eubanks was laughing in his face, and people wasn't even taking it serious. Yeah, it looked good, but why all the talk if there's certain other particulars that need to take place? Is Conor Ben off freaking suspension over from the Why would we even have them two communicate in the ring? Who let him through the ropes? Was it just for play? Who is betting on Conor on Eubanks Jr. if this fight does materialize that he's going to go in there and beat Canelo Alvarez? Who's banking on that? I would like to know who believes that he has any more stock value to defeat Canelo than Jaime Munguia, Edgar Berlanga. Who? John Ryder, Mel Charlo. Does Chris Eubanks have any higher stock value in the fans putting their total confidence in him going in there upsetting Canelo? No, I'm going to tell you just like this. No, we don't. No, I don't. It says Eubank Jr. isn't well known to U.S. fans, and it would have to require top type theatrics during the build up to get fans interested in purchasing on pay-per-view, especially if it's priced at $89.99. Like Canelo's last fight against unproven. I like that. Unproven Edgar Berlanga on September 14. There's a lot of money for Americans to pay for a mismatch against British celebrity fighter. There's a lot of money for Americans to pay for a mismatch against British celebrity fighters. If that ain't never been the truth. Eubanks Jr. conversation have begun. It would require a lot of selling to interest the U.S. fans because Eubanks Jr. would be viewed as another John Ryder and Billy Joe Saunders type mismatch. Canelo would make money fighting an old subpar fighter who is more of a celebrity level boxer than a true contender. Talk your shit, man. Talk your shit, man. Talk that shit, man. Sean Jones, talk your shit. You know what I'm saying? An old subpar fighter who is more of a celebrity level boxer than a true contender. Hey, man, you on fire. You know what I'm saying? Just off that one sentence you just laid out there, torched the whole article. It says Eubanks has never won a world title. His 13-year career, he's mostly fought at the British and European level, facing domestic fighters and journeymen. Last year, Eubanks Jr. was knocked out in 4th round by French contender Liam Smith on January 21st, 2023. The 35-year-old Eubanks say a fight between him and Canelo would have a huge buildup that would get fans excited about seeing them battle. He feels that the unified 3-belt super middleweight champion Canelo has few options now that David Benavidez has moved up to 175. Well, he has options. He has Terrence Bud Crawford that's out there. I mean, anybody in their right mind would feel that Terrence Bud Crawford fight is astronomically better when it comes to the stars aligning than freaking Eubanks Jr. Let's get real here. Let's not sit up here and bump him up to another freaking tier just based off his prior performance recently. But he is running out of options. You know what I'm saying? First, you hear in talks, it's going to be in Billy. And then you hear Eubanks Jr. Nobody's trying to see them in Wembley. That fight is not the fight we want to see in no Wembley. But if you have a promoter that selects to surrender and buy into the trash bin, there's no way that this fight is piquing the interest of real boxing fans. It's no way. It's no way that it's not even one casual fan that believe that Eubanks can go in there and beat Canelo Alvarez, yo. 35 years of age. I want to hear the same criticism that y'all give all these other fighters that's 35, 36, 37. Does he have a chance? Does he have a window of opportunity that isn't already busted out? It says Eubanks Jr. states the only possibility for Canelo are light heavyweights, Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. But they fighting at 175. He feels he's better option for Canelo. We've already started small conversations around the Canelo fight. If he's ever going to fight in the UK, that's the fight. And that will sell out at Wembley, said Eubanks to Sky Sports about a fight between them and Canelo Alvarez. I would become the face of boxing. I could become the face of boxing. Oh my God. Man, I told him to put that eggnog down, bro. Are you trying to tell me Dmitry Bivol beating Canelo Alvarez at 175, he became the face of boxing? And look, he's younger than you, Eubanks. He's younger than you. He didn't become the face of boxing. He didn't become, what are you talking about? See, I have to tell you, as salty as it gets there, Eubanks, you don't have the personality. You are a snob. You don't have the personality to become the face of boxing. You are absolute, arrogant, stuck up snob. That is the primary reason why you can never be in Canelo's shoes. Never. You're stuck up. You treat freaking media like they're peasants. You would never, ever, yo. First of all, beat Canelo Alvarez and consider yourself along with the what's the word I'm looking for? With the support from the fight fans to deem you the face of motherfucking boxing. Get out of here, bro. It's obviously fans would ridicule Canelo if he chose to fight Eubanks Jr. because he's not viewed as a top-tier fighter in the eyes of knowledgeable fans. Eubank Jr. is viewed as a Conor Benn type of fighter who is popular only because of his famous father and makes good money fighting non-world level competition in the UK. We've already started small. He's repeating. See, he's getting ahead of his producer's notes. You know what I'm saying? I believe that's a fight that interests Canelo. It won't go over well if Canelo chooses to fight Eubanks Jr. Still, if this is a retirement tour type of fight, it's understandable why he would want to scoop from the bottom of the barrel to take this lackluster opponent for an easy payday at the expense of fans. Canelo can price this fight as high as the market will bear at $89.99 and count on his loyal fans to purchase it on Cinco de Mayo holiday, May 2025. What do y'all think about that article? Do you think he has a snowball chance of hell getting a fight with Canelo Alvarez just because they want to put that in Wembley? No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all, bro. Toby said, within the next week, they're saying Ben's results will come out. Apparently, but the BBOC oversees the Saudi cards. So I don't see him being too hard on Conor. Now Turkey's involved. Good point. Good point, Toby. Good point. Good point. So, you know, the money's involved and everything. And then, you know, when it comes to the Turkey's card, Turkey Al-Sheikh Saudi card, you know, one thing you don't hear too much of, they're not going to bring up Conor Ben eating 2,500 eggs a day and then testing positive for clomiphene and say, oh, it's used for a masking agent. They're not going to care too much about that shit over there. Yeah, he tested positive. He's been suspended, blah, 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 whatever the case. But you know, over there in Saudi, these fight cards, you don't even hear. Have anybody tested positive yet over there in Saudi Arabia? I mean, that's not the topic of conversation like it is here in the U.S. That you remember when I said that this language about pay-per-view numbers is not being spoken on. It's like an unspoken language when it comes to Saudi cards. But then when Turkey Al-Sheikh selected to have Crawford as his first fight card over here on the West Coast in the U.S. footprint, right? That's when people started to talk after the fight. Oh, let's talk about pay-per-view numbers again. Even those so-called privateers who gets the scoop, why they don't come up with the scoop over there in Saudi? Why they don't come up with the numbers over there in Saudi? It's just when it's over here in the U.S., they want to make it seem like, yeah, it's time for us to come up with the numbers. It's almost like putting on cufflinks. You know, they want to put on cufflinks, man. You know, dress it up a little bit. Hey, you know, Crawford only did 50K. Crawford only did 100K. I mean, you don't hear about that when it's over in Saudi, nor do you hear about fighters testing positive for PEDs. I'm being honest. That was a good point, Toby. That was a good point. Eubanks already lost to Liam Smith. Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo already beat them. What chance Eubanks Jr. got? I understand. I get it, bro. That's what I'm saying to myself. What chance do you got, man? What chance do you have to beat this guy? This would be damn near like him going in there against Billy Joe Saunders or something. Him going in there against Abney Yildirim, Jan Ryder. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is definitely not going to be a step up fight. And what I would see Eubanks even making it to the final bell. I mean, well, of course, Canelo, he always been in a given spirit. As long as you give him the complimentary one knockdown, which shouldn't be hard with Eubanks, I think that agreement alone will get you to the final bell. So I'm not going to say he's going to get flatlined like James Kirkland. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, hey, Canelo haven't been handing out them James Kirkland's lemon meringue pie to the face. He's been giving complimentary one knockdown, and I'll take you to the final tick, and you can save face. But if not, you don't want to check that box for that certain percentage, that extra 2%. I'm going to give you the lemon meringue pie to the face like James Kirkland special. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Eubanks, I don't see him making it to the no. That's a waste of my freaking eyes. That's a waste of my freaking eyes, my visual, my freaking time. That's a waste of a lot of shit that's I deem important. That I deem precious. I don't want to waste it on no Eubanks versus freaking Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Saw they use UCAD, VADA, apparently. No, I'm not saying they don't use nobody. I'm just saying you don't hear about this talk. Just like you don't hear about pay-per-views. You don't hear about freaking drug testing. You don't hear about fighters going over there testing dirty. Who's been suspended over there, you know, on Saudi cards? Has anybody popped yet? Can anybody convince me that Ryan Garcia can't get a fight? Look, once his suspension is up, you think they're going to make a freaking big deal out of Ryan Garcia getting his license back? No more than they did with Antonio Margarito when he came off his suspension from Plaster of Paris and manipulating his freaking raps. No difference than Alberto Puello, who came off suspension. Then Michel Rivera, wasn't he on suspension? Let me look him up right quick. Michel Rivera, just to verify. The Dominican lightweight was issued a 6-month suspension by Nevada State Athletic Commission, which stemmed from a positive drug test surrounding his lopsided defeat to Frank Martin last December. And this wasn't something that I just guessed. It was intentionally done because I just wanted to dress this up totally with the Michel Rivera 6-month suspension, and he lost to Frank Martin. So once again, when you talk about the Haney Garcia, and that's the reason why Ryan Garcia did, look at Michel Rivera. You know, fined $10,000, and he lost. He lost, yo. This dude lost, and nobody's talking about this shit. He tested positive for 2 banned substances from water. 2. Check this out. Were considered diuretics. Ryan Garcia didn't even test positive for a diuretic, which is basically a contributor to weight loss. It helps you lose water. Water is a part of cutting weight. Okay? The combinations of the 2 help reduce fluid retention and reduce blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows you cutting weight, you have to reduce the water intake. You know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to hold water. You want to dry out as much as you possibly can. 2, y'all. But nobody's talking about that because, you know, that is actually dealing with cutting corners and weight loss. Basically, you know, taking a diuretic. Whereas Ostarine, it has this contamination attachment to it. But nothing on the level of EPO, of course. Oh, man. But solid point there, Toby. I appreciate you dropping that info. I ain't seen no Amir Khan sleeps from Canelo recently. You got that right. Hey. I haven't seen any James Kirkland sleeps. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen Kirkland sleeps. Yeah, Amir Khan looked bad. But goddamn, when James Kirkland threw that, and that looked bad, shouty. Woo, that looked bad. God damn, that looked bad. Shout out to the OG, Mr. Golden on deck. What's good with it? Salute to you. Yeah, man. Big salute to the hottest chat in the MF and game. You know what I'm saying? And big salute to those who support the channel. As always, one love to y'all. Appreciate you. Until next time, man.